space. So here is bird's eye view of the energy center. Sophie, you've probably been there more than I. Can you give any more context into what we're actually seeing? And if not, just looking at this Google Maps view.
Yeah, so this is where they host the rodeo every year, and it's a great venue for the rodeo. So it's like there's a lot of parking around, and it seems like they did the event where the parking lot is. How the rodeo works, it's in like the big like arena where people can sit down.
Is the arena in this box, or is this just like the outdoor space?
This is just the outdoor space, so it seems like they set up a stage in the outdoor area, and I'm sure you've seen videos. It's kind of like an awkward section. It looks like a trapezoid where people were standing.
Yeah, we can actually, I think I might have some videos up here of kind of how awkward that layout is. I know we saw it earlier, and it'd be good to see an actual...
When you think of like ACL or EDC or any other festival, there's multiple stages where people can like walk and there's room. Here, it was like stage. Everyone's just kind of around this stage.
100,000 people. I'd be curious to
50,
see.
50,000.
100,000 was in the space. 100,000 people crammed into the space from what I have.
Okay. Crazy.
And so I'm wondering how many tickets they actually sold. I mean, some other stuff I have here is AstroWorld Festival concert producers have history of OSHA violations. So, and looking at like a lot of the different accounts that we've seen, just first-hand accounts, like I think there's speculation that security was contracted, which just opens up a lot of doors for, not having qualified staff.
Yeah, so it looks like there's already a track record of fishy business, maybe cutting corners.
Cutting corners,
You want to talk about the water situation?
Yeah, so I have that here. It looks like it was confirmed that there were 2 water stations.
For 50,000 people?
100,000.
100,000 people. 2 water stations is absolutely ridiculous.
And that's for the free water. They did sell water, but it was, from what we saw, it was $7
$7 for a bottle of water.
And, yeah, so 2 water stations, which seems like poor planning, for sure. I mean, for a concert this size, what's that? 50,000 people per water station. I don't know. So it looks like we have some OSHA violations. So that's kind of to set the scene. I think I want to start going into kind of what was actually going on, some of like the live stuff that we see. Okay. So I'm gonna put on my headphones here. Maybe we can just listen through the mic. We don't have external speakers, but we do have a live stream here of the whole concert. And kind of the whole question here is like, how obvious was it from Travis Scott's perspective? Like, was it really obvious that there's a lot of people in shambles, tons of people are dying, or from his perspective, is it just like because there's a famous video that we can look at of him seeing one person, passing out, and it's like, well, is that common? Was it obvious to him that there was a bigger problem? And
another question too is, if he's already setting the stage, like AstroWorld, we're raging, everyone's coming to rage. At what point do you still like keep that mentality? Because it's like once you start seeing people in shambles, is it like, okay, maybe my mindset that we're all here to rage, people are storming the gates, my tweet about come on wild people, come on in, maybe at that point it's
yeah, here's the deleted tweet for context. It looks like he did post. So he was aware that people are sneaking in. He said, we still sneaking the wild ones in. So I mean, I get it from his brand of like
the mentality is let's go rage at AstroWorld.
Yeah, and something that's actually really important is 2 years ago for Lollapalooza, people were trying to get on stage, and Travis Scott got arrested for inciting public violence 2 years ago at Lollapalooza in Chicago. I can pull up the link. I didn't have it pulled up here, but I remember hearing that at the time, and I just saw it today that he's been arrested in the past for inciting public violence at Lolla when people were rushing the stage. And security was trying to stop him, and he said, nah, fuck security. Excuse my language. He told him to F security. So he has a history of this. Okay. But it hasn't led to deaths in the past. So just some more, some more context. Let's see. So what I want to do first is start by the actual crowd starting at a large level. Let's just listen, kind of see what's going on here.
Do you have the video up of people coming in first? Maybe we can start
there. I do have that. Crowd versus security at the gates. I think this is that.
So maybe we should start with people coming in, what that looked like.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. And we'll get to the live stream in a second. Okay, so knowing that, it's like, at this point, do we already make the decision of like, I mean, I feel like this is probably pretty common, this one instance, but we've seen other videos though. This isn't the only gate this happened at. There's multiple other videos, and it's like, at this point, do you already make a decision of, it's probably, you probably can't cancel it.
They had this last, why would you cancel it because of that? So it's like, they already had this last year. They know it's like, it's hyped. It's a fun festival.
That's true. I think what you do from a security standpoint, in terms of, really what I'm talking here is like ownership, responsibility, because kind of who does this lie on? To me, this should at least give security context that we're overcrowded, especially with the fact that we know this doesn't happen at just this gate. This is at least one little part of, okay, we already have way more people here. We should already be on extra high alert. Mm-hmm. And also, if this is happening, call in more security to stop it from continuing to happening, because, odds are this wasn't the last time this happened.
Yeah.
So
good video.
Yeah, that was good. Okay, let's kind of play in here. We're gonna kind of skip ahead to Havoc's happening. And we can always jump back in time, but I do want to review here to kind of just listen to what the crowd is, kind of get an environment when the show's actually going on.
Let's do it.
Everybody good? Put a middle finger up in the sky. Okay, where my guy, man? Come on. Yeah, all that. 2 hands to the sky.
Can you hear it?
What?
I can't hear it on the stream.
Oh, turn your volume knob up.
Oh, cool.
All right, I'm gonna go back because you can actually hear people trying to stop it. And he's like, just listen. I'm gonna go back like right here.
Who a real motherfucker? Come on. There's an ambulance in the crowd. Whoa.
There's an ambulance in the crowd. Whoa. Look at his face. It's clear that stuff's going on.
What the fuck is that? If everybody good, put a middle finger up in the sky. Okay, where my guy, man? Come on.
Yeah, everybody except the...
Yeah, all that.
See, look,
2 hands to the sky.
He's kind of coming down.
2 hands to the sky. 2 hands up, y'all. 2 hands up. Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me. Let's go. I want to make this motherfucking ground shake. Goddammit.
That's so crazy.
Here we go. Here we go. 5, 7, 4.
I have not seen any comments from Apple Music. What up, Adam? Haven't seen anything from that yet, but honestly, the stuff's dropping every second here. Hey, I have another moment around 42 minutes where apparently it's clear. I think that was the clearest example of like clearly some. He said there's an ambulance in the crowd.
I mean, there was a spotlight.
Yeah. All right. I think there's another moment here.
Just play it slowly. We need somebody to help him. Somebody passed out right here.
Okay.
Somebody passed out right here. Hold on, don't touch him, Everybody just back up. Security, somebody help jump in real quick. Keep going, just right. Somebody jump in, come on, security, get in there, let's get in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have not seen him get credit for this. So I didn't know he did this. I haven't seen anywhere a video of him saying, hey, let's get him security.
Helping people, yeah.
That's actually pretty interesting. That's definitely not the narrative right now out there. So kind of good to see it for myself.
Especially that one video where he's kind of looking over and still singing.
Yeah,
I think it was at this point. This is where the video was taken.
Yes, that video that everyone's spreading of him just saying yeah, and it's someone's perspective of like the dude, and then him just seeing yeah, but he literally 10 seconds before that says, "Hold on, let's get him security." So that's totally different than what the story is right now, which is pretty interesting. I mean, he does keep going. Remember, they try to stop the music. He says, "Keep it going." So I mean, there is an argument about the energy, him continuing the energy, whatnot. But he is acknowledging it, and that's kind of the biggest thing of like, is him just kind of acknowledging it and continuing to going. I mean, ultimately, I guess that did lead to more lives lost. All right, I think this is a good time now to stop and kind of read this account. This is probably the most impactful account that I've seen from the story. We haven't gone over this yet, so this is going to be kind of news to you too.
All right, let's go.
All right, so, and I actually have video of this person, so let me get the video ready to kind of follow this. So this is actually, okay, so this video of this guy that's gone viral, of this dude telling everyone...
Shut the fuck up! Exactly right. Someone in there. People are fucking dying. I want to save somebody's life. That's somebody's kid.
Two hands to the sky.
Let's save them.
2 hands to the sky. 2 hands up, y'all. 2 hands up.
So what you don't see in this angle, there is another angle. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up, because we actually have a detailed account of what happened right there. Another angle. Let me try to. Yes, this is this girl right here.
Oh yes, perfect.
This is important. All right, this girl right here, her trying to go on. I'm gonna read it in a second. Apparently, the cameraman threatened to throw her off the stage 13 feet down if she didn't get down. See, this is the story, but it's that girl who wrote this story.
My thing is that, there's two types of people. There were those people that were kind of in it. They knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's people that are still in that rage mentality, like on top of the emergency response vehicles. I guess just like a reflection for everybody going to these festivals. Like, who do you want to be coming out? Do you want to be the one that's kind of helping others, or do you want to be able to walk out and say, yeah, I danced on a...
I mean, ultimately, there's a lot of people online bashing just the whole crowd, saying these young kids were not ready, they were not prepared, they
I'm not
failed.
blaming the kids at all. I'm just saying, they've experienced this, and looking back, who would you want to be next time when you go around?
Yeah, some lessons learned for sure, and we can get into that exactly what you're supposed to do, how to better prepare. She wrote this account, and this is actually probably the most real thing that I've read. So I'm just gonna read it out loud, and it's a couple pages. So here we go. Today's November 5th. It's a Friday. So she wrote this the day of everything that happened, and this is by that girl, by the way, we just saw. Who I am in the story is not important. Rather, it's important the things I have witnessed. AstroWorld, Houston, Texas. Travis is the only one performing. I don't know how many people were at the festival, but I do know that every single person was at that stage. My friend and I wanted to be close to the stage, as close as we could possibly get. We were not able to get very close, but we did end up on the side near the walkway in the middle. So she's in the middle of the festival. Surrounding us were chest-high metal gates, barriers. We stood there for 2 hours, as did every other person. Every gap was filled. Where your feet were placed was where they stayed. Energy rose as time neared beginning the show. Within the first 30 seconds of the first song, people began to drown. In the first 30 seconds of the first song,
Crazy. People
began to drown into other people. There were so many people. Tall men, women and men were the only thing the only thing they could see was the back of the person in front of them. The rush of people became tighter and tighter. Breathing became something only a few were capable of. The rest were crushed or unable to breathe in the thick, hot air. My friend began to grasp for breath, and she told me we needed to get out. We tried to get out. There was nowhere to go. The shoving got harder and harder. If someone's arms had been going up, it was no longer a possibility to put it back down. So people began to choke one another as the mass swayed. It became more and more violent. We began to scream for help. We could see security just a few people over in the walkway in the middle. It got tighter, impossible to breathe, as our lungs were compressed between the bodies of those surrounding us. So really quick, when this kind of stuff happens and deaths at festivals, there's two different types of deaths that can happen. One from so many people, I think it's like 8 people in a meter or 10 people, where you're so compressed together that you can't breathe out for air. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the things that's happening. And then the other thing is people being stampeded. So it seems like here it was the two different kinds of ways you could die from
the huge just shockwave crowd.
From being so pushed together that your lungs can't expand back out and you die from asphyxiation, or being trampled. And it looks like both happen here.
Yeah, there's not enough space.
All right, so going back, more people began to scream for help. Some began to collapse. The music continued. Hundreds of people rippled their vocal cords apart, screaming for help, but were not heard. There was nowhere to go. My friend was trapped between people on every side of her, and she desperately tried to move towards the rail. It was no use. The screaming intensified as more people realized they could not breathe. We begged security to help us, for the performer to see us, and knew something was wrong. And none of that came. We continued to drown. More and more, one person fell or collapsed. It doesn't matter how it started. Once one fell, a hole opened in the ground. It was like watching a Jenga tower topple. People after person was struck down. You could not guess from which direction the shove of hundreds of people would come next. You were at the mercy of the wave. I watched my friend be dragged away from me and lost sight of her. I began to realize in that moment that this is a way to die that not many people know about, being trampled to death. I saw terror in every eye that I met, even the ones who told me to breathe and stay calm. We knew there was a very big chance some of us would not make it out alive. I was pushed away from the rail into the crowd of people, where I could hear from another direction the shrieks of animals. It was happening all around me. These sinkholes of people. I was moved back towards the sinkhole I started at and was pushed to the edge of it. I sunk my feet in the ground, put my arms out, and tried to stop anyone from entering the circle or pushing those away already from it, the sinkhole. I was shoved further to the ground, my face down at the cold, hard plastic below us, and saw the body of a man, his face below mine. This is crazy. His face below mine, I lost it. There were people below the ones I could see from above. There was a floor of bodies of men and women began below 2 layers of fallen people above them. I began to shriek. I felt a primal terror rip through me, and I am not sure how anyone understood the magnitude of the situation below. I screamed there were people on the floor. There were people, unconscious, being trampled by every foot that slammed into the ground as each individual tried to keep themselves upright. I saw his face. I became a shield for him. I think he saw that and smiled at me. Then I was shoved to the side. I saw more shoes slammed to the ground, exactly in the spot his body lay, face up. I couldn't help him. I couldn't help any of them. I didn't stop screaming the entire time. No one knew there were people below that they could see. I almost met the same fate. I was losing balance and asked the man to grab me. He pulled me up. I righted myself for a fraction of a second before I sunk back into the crowd. I couldn't take what I saw. I had to get out. I had to get help. I had to do something. Somehow I went towards the back of the crowd at a guardrail. A man pulled me over it. There were many people just standing there like nothing was happening, like people weren't dead a few feet from them. I saw the cameraman, eyes glued to the stage. And so this is the girl, and this is where the video we see, elevated to the platform. A platform that looked directly into the crowd. I climbed the ladder and pointed to the hole, telling him people were dying. He told me to get off the platform and continued filming. I screamed over and over. He wouldn't even look in the direction, so I pushed the camera and pointed it towards where I'd just come from. He became angry. He called someone else up. I told him the same thing. People were dying. We need to stop the music. We need help. We need attention towards the mass, because I thought if only these people were aware, maybe we would do something. The other man grabbed my arm and told me he would push me off the 15-port platform if I didn't get down. I told him to help. I told him people were dying. I showed him where. He wouldn't look in the direction. I was in disbelief. Here were two people.
Ultimately, what are the workers, but I don't know.
Yeah, so I want to go to this video because it's crazy that the girl that wrote this, we actually have that video. Was it right? Was it here? I want to go back to that other angle. Yeah, here it is.
That's okay with you real quick. Please be, let's do it. Lost on oxygen and boat cars. Just bring your girl, feel like she both bars. Just like nigga up in the ocean. So why we here, just on the ocean?
The biggest thing is like
Just one day away from going
I feel like he was given the opportunity. I don't think it makes him responsible, but it's like it's hard because when you kind of zoom out, it's all of these people. You can't just put it on one person.
Yeah, I just have to say that ultimately, if there's no protocol for it, they don't know how to respond. They don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's not their responsibility.
He's just the cameraman.
The thing is like he had the power to do something different and stop it, which is kind of the hard part. We can end that reading. We can end that post there. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Hey, watch the operator.
Another thing too, a lot of people were saying. So a 10-year-old died. He was one of the people that lost their lives, and they were like, "How is it? Like, what is your 10-year-old doing at a festival?" I think something interesting was that we play Fortnite, and they had the Travis Scott skin, and then Travis Scott had
a collab with McDonald's. I have his merch from McDonald's. I have a 6-foot cutout from McDonald's.
Right, and that's like completely geared towards kids, and if parents want to bring their kids, and a parent had their son in the VIP area, and she was like, "Oh, I just cannot believe the carnage that was happening below. Like, there was no room for them." And
so it looks like AstroWorld, you did have to confirm that you were either 18 years of age or older. Oh, but if you were accompanied by a minor, that you were at least 13 years old, possess a legal guardian. So it looks like that 10-year-old was not technically allowed in by festival standards.
I mean, but still, it's like, the kids want to go see him, and
yeah,
I don't blame the kids or the fans for going.
I feel like in this instance, the blame goes to the parents.
No, it goes towards the festival.
The festival had rules in place. You're not allowed unless you're over 13 years old. So that's my, the festival to me, I think did, had the 13 years old.
Maybe.
So, yeah, and I feel you though. It's hard to just put it on the parents because they're just taking him to a festival. They don't think he's gonna die.
Yeah.
Obviously, you never think of a festival death. But ultimately, I was interested. Did AstroWorld have an age limit? And it looks like they did. You had to be 18 years or older, or if you're 13 or older, with a guardian.
Okay.
So that is really sad. I feel like there's no easy answer for that one.
Yeah. Ultimately, the kids want to go see Travis Scott.
Yeah, I don't blame the kid at all.
Yeah. So.
I mean,
All right, we can move on to next content.
Okay. Let's just kind of go through some of these videos here. So.
This is tough.
Obviously it's a really bad look, but what's really interesting is when we saw it here at what? Oh, it's right here.
Right there.
I kind of want to go back to that because that's something I haven't seen one.
Jump in real quick. Keep going. Just keep it this way.
This is what that video doesn't show.
Yeah.
Somebody jump in. Come on. Security, get in there. Let's get in there. Let's get in there. Let's get in there. Let's get in there.
It looks like that's that exact situation. Man.
Just look how there's nowhere to go though. Like, you're pretty much just boxed in.
Yeah, look at that
Stage.
layout. It's such a weird, awkward layout.
No.
So, okay, going into this, I thought that he really didn't do anything, didn't acknowledge it, kept going. It looks like he calmed it down for a second and did acknowledge it, so I feel like that is a little bit more than what most people are giving him credit for right now.
Mm-hmm.
Should he have done more? I don't know. We have his statement here. We were kind of talking about this earlier off stream, and we do feel like, at first, so he's already gotten backlash for this statement, okay? If you look at it, it's obviously super short. What's obvious to me is it looks like he didn't write this, like a team of lawyers wrote this, or his team that was written this. And, at first we were kind of outraged. I wanted to hear more about what, just something more personal, but you just have to understand that anything he says, he could be held liable for these deaths.
Yeah, for sure.
Which could put him behind bars, so it's like, is he in the wrong for this statement? I feel like I would want to see something more personal. I feel like I was a little disappointed that he put something out this kind of shallow, clearly written by lawyers.
Yeah.
It feels ingenuine, but I'm also just recognizing if this was, me, realize that you didn't realize. It's just hard because you can totally make yourself. He was probably advised to put this out by his team.
For me, it's like I haven't decided how much of a fan I still am of Travis Scott. I'm going to see how he responds later. there's still the death count is still coming. People are still injured. We have to see what what his response is ultimately, and how his team decides to, says, I'm committed to working together with the Houston community and heal and support the families in need. We'll have to see what that looks like. Yeah, so a lot of people are not happy about the insensitive tweet.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's pretty shallow, pretty short. But we'll have to see what else he puts out there.
What's interesting is that the fans are slamming Apple over the insensitive AstroWorld. So Apple is being slammed. Do we know Apple's involvement with AstroWorld?
I think it's sponsored by
Apple. Yeah, we'll see, kind of what Apple, how they retaliate, how they respond. I don't think they've put anything out
Apple
yet.
Music streamed AstroWorld Kill.
They streamed it. Okay. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I think the stream right here is the AstroWorld. If you look at the bottom, I think this is...
So are we ready to go to lessons learned and just prevention?
I want to cover one more thing. I feel like this is important. Okay, here, let's watch a couple more videos, and then we're going to kind of wrap it up. Let's see...
Stop the show! Stop the show! Stop the show! Stop the show! Stop the show!
I feel like videos like this from one camera perspective, like, yeah, they're in the middle of that, but I feel like at a large level, there's no way he was able to. That seemed like a pretty low chant.
Yeah.
But to me, that's not that interesting. What is more, it's kind of that broader view. I think there's one more thing I feel like that's really important. TMZ already starting to put out reports. I want to just talk about this for a second, and then I'll give my thoughts. From TMZ, source claims someone was injecting crowd with drugs. A source connected to AstroWorld tells TMZ someone in the crowd went crazy, began injecting people with some sort of drug, which caused panic and then a surge. The source determined if those who went into cardiac arrest were the ones injected. I feel like, to me, this I'm just super skeptical of this coming from TMZ. The fact that this was even published before anything more is confirmed, I feel like it's kind of a miss on TMZ. Because to me, this is how conspiracy theories start. Just saying that the whole crowd was injected with the drug. Yeah. I feel like, to me, it's more like it's 100,000 people in this space right here.
Okay, the thing is, you saw the footage earlier of people just storming the security gates. They were obviously not checking bags, not checking what you brought in, basically. So, high likelihood that people were on substances and drinking whatever. They were just bringing whatever in. I would just say that this article is probably just trying to overhype.
Yeah, and I just hate that. I don't know. Anything you put out right now on AstroWorld is so big that if you're going to put something out like this, I feel like it's almost irresponsible at TMZ to say that there was a mass drug.
Like the Senate says, we're told one of those who died is a 10-year-old. And it looks like they're linking it that they were drugged, but there's...
Yeah, I would just say be careful of any kind of piece of... when you see something this crazy, I don't know. I feel like your BS meter should be going off.
Yeah, for sure.
Your BS meter, for sure,
off
for sure.
Charts.
So I was a little disappointed to see that, that was out there. Let me see if there's anything else. Ultimately, I think that's kind of what we have right now. The death toll has officially went up to, was it 11?
I saw 14.
14.
Last time.
I did see that there was 20 in critical condition or something. So I think we're at least 11, maybe 14. So again, condolences to the family. Yeah, I think kind of where we kind of end this off, unless anything big comes in pretty soon, is what to do for Crowd Crush.
Yeah, so okay, this is where we're going to go to lessons learned. There was a veteran who posted that he came to AstroWorld and he performed CPR more times at AstroWorld than he did his whole time deployed. So kind of, you probably don't anticipate needing any of these life skills at a festival that's hosted and streamed by Apple. It's hosted by a big artist, but it's just a reminder to what you can do to actively protect yourself. I think Kenny's going to go over basically what to do when you're in a shockwave crowd that you don't really know how to get out of. So
yeah, I could say I've been CPR certified in the past, but honestly, if it came down to it today, it's been a while since I've been recertified, so maybe just that personal decision of if you want to do that. Ultimately, when it comes to this today, for Crowd Crush, there's just a couple different ways. So I'm not going to go through this whole post because it goes over the two different types, which was the compressive asphyxiation, which is what I was saying earlier, which she described when you're getting so you can't
just
breathe.
Suffocated because you don't have anywhere to go.
And then crowd collapse, and that was that sinkhole she was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go to exactly what you can do. This is a real problem that you may encounter in your own lifetime. If you do realize that you're in a crowd heading towards a crush, unfortunately, it probably means that it's too late for you at that point. However, if you're actually serious about avoiding one of these, you can imagine most of the horrible deaths you can imagine. You can work to get out of it. The key is the shock waves you'll feel travel through everyone as the pressure is pushing y'all start to outpace how fast you can physically move. These are the sorts of crowds that if someone steps on your foot, you'll probably lose your shoe because your foot will simply be carried by the movement of the crowd. When you feel a shock wave, absolutely do not fight it. That's one of the quickest ways to fall over. What you should do instead is let it carry you wherever it needs to, and then immediately start moving sideways and diagonally backwards if that's possible. Avoid falling over at all costs, though. You simply want to get out of that crowd at that point, even if it's headed somewhere you need to be, however possible. So ultimately kind of going with the wave.
Going with the wave, get out when you can. I don't know if you can pull up that photo of us at ACL, if you can.
Yeah, we can pull that. I think I had a little bit more specific, and I will pull it up in a second. But what I texted you earlier was moving backwards and diagonally is what you should do. So kind of move backwards.
This is it right there in bold. Start moving sideways and diagonally backward if that's possible, and get out of that.
It just sounds really practical. Immediately start moving sideways and diagonally backwards if that's possible. Avoid falling at all costs. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I don't have the picture pulled up here. I feel like it would take a little bit of digging, but, we experienced this at Austin City Limits. We were at a festival.
Send it to your email. Let me see.
Approximately 450,000 people attended. So approximately, we were at a festival a couple weeks ago where about 450,000 people were. Approximately, I think numbers were a little bit down this year because of COVID, but we were at the very front rail, and here I could pull up the picture really quick and send it to myself.
Let me find it. Should be right there.
I know exactly where it's at. Do you want to talk about ACL at all, or?
I mean, yeah, it's not. You can't really compare the two. ACL, you have so much more room. You have multiple stages, so there's room, and there's room in the middle. Here at AstroWorld, you can see it's mostly just
because it's one stage.
It's just one stage, and there's nowhere to go. And then you can see it too from the YouTube video that it's just. There's nowhere to go,
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, for our experience, it was really scary because we were up at the front, pushed against a rail, and we had so many people trying to get in front of. This was at Freddie Gibbs, and it was that feeling. So the thing is Sophia and I were next to each other on rail, and we were getting people were trying to push. People were literally trying to move me off of rail and get to where I was. And at some point, it was that feeling of the crowd's going this way, we have to go this way. But we didn't want to lose our spots at the time, and so we were I was trying to go against the crowd, and I'll just never forget. I was trying so hard to keep a whole crowd of people off of me. I felt like I was one rep, giving everything I could into one push because I didn't want any of that force to go on to you next to me. And so I just remember feeling this feels like 500-600 pounds of force right now. And at first I was we need to go. But I feel both of us didn't really realize how, if you fall, how dangerous that could be.
Yeah.
And, eventually we ended up just leaving. Because at this point, Freddie Gibbs was actually calling attention to us getting crushed in the front. And I feel like that kind of, I don't know, that definitely, made us more want to leave. And definitely felt like more of the right thing to do ultimately.
Well, I hope this was helpful. I know we went over a lot of content. Something that I walked away knowing now is that Travis did somewhat address it during the concert. So we'll just have to see what happens as the story progresses and see what the response is. But once again, hearts go out to all those lives that were lost and those that were injured.
I would say for me, ultimately, I think that after kind of seeing all this, I feel like the responsibility goes on the security of the event. Ultimately, they should be telling he's not like, he does represent AstroWorld, but ultimately I feel like they should be telling him we're shutting it down. There's a death. And I actually saw conflicting stories about people said that once the deaths were reported, they shut down the show, but that's actually not true. He did his whole set list. He performed all the way to the end, and it was never cut short. Mm-hmm. I feel like he should have been stopped at some point. There should have been an executive decision.
The issue was a lack of protocol. There was nothing that said, hey, we need to shut it down after this. Like, at what point do you shut it down? They didn't define it, so they just did the whole set list, which is so unfortunate. So, yeah.
Big question. You think there's going to be another AstroWorld?
No, I think they're going to end it. I don't think fans want to go to it. I think it's probably going to have negative PR press around it, and there's probably no reason to do it again.
I personally feel like there is still going to be a want to go to AstroWorld again. I do think fans would want to go if they let them, but I don't think the city of Houston's going to allow another AstroWorld.
And if they are, it's going to have very strict policies. They're going to check bags.
Probably a different... I can tell you this, Energy will not let them have it again at their campgrounds. If they do it somewhere, if they do try to do this again, I don't think it's going to be...
they probably lost so much money. I mean, they're probably going to refund tickets. They're probably not going to make any money. The merch that they sold, they can't even sell at day 2.
Well, merch will probably be, because it's going to probably be a turning point, whether it's festival safety... it should already starting such a crucial discussion that wasn't had before. So, going to be historic in that sense, but horrible of how it had to happen with 10 lives lost. Yeah, unfortunately, it's what I hate is like lives have to be lost for us to have this conversation. Is there a way around that? I don't know, but that's a sad thing. All right. I think that's coverage. We'll be coming back on if anything more develops for sure, but.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for everyone that listened.
Everyone stay safe.
Stay safe. Rest in peace to everyone who lost a life in AstroWorld. And,
That's a wrap.